Dear heads of state, dear members of the delegations, dear friends, I cordially welcome you to the capital of Tajikistan, the city of Dushanbe. We consider today's meeting as a logical continuation of the close partnership relations between our countries in various formats. I am confident that its results will contribute to the further development of our cooperation in the Central Asia-Russia format. The agenda of the meeting covers topical issues of regional cooperation. Among the key issues are the promotion of trade and economic cooperation, the promotion of investment growth, the expansion of humanitarian ties in the six-party format, as well as ensuring regional security. I am convinced that the decisions taken as a result of the discussion will become another guideline for further strengthening the spirit of solidarity and mutually beneficial partnership within this format. I wish success to our work and a good stay in Dushanbe to all participants of the summit. Welcome again. The second meeting of the heads of state in the Central Asia-Russia format is declared open.
The floor is given to the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
Thank you very much. Dear Imamali Sharipovich, dear friends and colleagues, I and our entire delegation are very glad to see you all. As Imamali Sharipovich has already noted, this is our second meeting in this format. The first was in Astana and also on the sidelines of the CIS summit. Of course, we are in constant contact with each other, and we can always consult with each other and look for solutions to pressing current issues. But I am sure that such a multilateral format of communication is also very useful. It has its own obvious, so to speak, added value. I would like to emphasize that Russia is firmly committed to further strengthening its strategic partnership and alliance with your countries and deepening mutually beneficial political, economic, and humanitarian ties. We have already achieved really good results in all these areas. So, by the end of last year, the Russian trade turnover with the Central Asian states, with the five, exceeded $45 billion. Overall, a good result. But I would like to draw your attention to the fact that I always give this example in such cases. Alexander Grigorievich Lukashenko will take part in our work on the CIS tomorrow. We have a trade turnover of over $50 billion with Belarus. Let me remind you that 10 million people live in Belarus, almost 40 in Uzbekistan, over 10 in Tajikistan. And how many in Kazakhstan? It's been over 20 years. Well, imagine I'm not even talking about other countries. What a huge resource. This means that there are good prospects for the development of our economic relations. However, in January-July of this year, mutual trade increased by another 4%. There is a systematic transition to the priority use of national currencies in mutual settlements. The Russian financial messaging system and similar systems in your countries are widely used for contract payments. The practice of opening direct correspondent accounts between credit institutions of our countries has become widespread. Russia is one of the leading investors in the economies of the region. The total volume of Russian investments is more than $20 billion. Too little, I think? A total of about 25,000 companies with Russian capital operate in your countries. Industrial cooperation is dynamically expanding. With Russia's participation, joint industrial parks, trading houses, wholesale distribution centers are being created in Central Asian countries. Major projects are being implemented in the automotive industry, the production of agricultural machinery, mineral fertilizers, and so on. a very wide range of our joint work. Of course, we're interested in companies from your countries actively joining large-scale Russian development programs in industry, high technologies, import substitution, and other areas. Moreover, we see and are pleased to observe the successes that exist in your countries in all the areas I have mentioned, and if this is the case, then the opportunities for cooperation are expanding. We are ready to build new logistics and transport chains together with you. At the same time, the key task is to arrange the north-south and east-west main routes passing through the territory of our countries, as well as the construction of new transcontinental corridors. Subsequently, all these and other Eurasian logistics projects could be combined into a single network with modern electronic services and transport services. This will significantly increase the volume of international transport through our common region. Russia and the 5 countries are deepening their partnership in the energy sector, which includes not only the extraction and trade of traditional hydrocarbons, but also the construction of nuclear power plants using the most modern Russian technologies and the introduction of renewable energy sources. With the participation of our country, the modernization of the largest hydroelectric power plants in the Central Asian region is underway, many of which were built back in Soviet times. Russian companies are ready to join the construction of new hydroelectric power plants, as well as projects aimed at ensuring the safe operation of water and energy infrastructure and the prudent use of water resources and transboundary rivers. Let me remind you that Russia has already allocated more than $33 million for joint programs with Central Asian states. These include monitoring the condition of the Amu Darya and Sirdarya river basins, the use of water conservation and reuse technologies, and the organization of systematic forest plantations in the Aral Sea region and on the drained bottom of the Aral Sea. We see good prospects for joint work in the field of natural resource development. Russia has a lot to offer in the field of high technologies. I am referring primarily to Russian digital solutions for optimizing public administration, and here I think you will agree we have something to offer. The creation of a smart urban environment and so on. Our country is interested in developing cooperation with Central Asian partners on epidemiological and sanitary safety. More than 20 mobile laboratories have already been transferred to the states of the region. They work very efficiently and turn out to be where they are needed and at the right time. Joint exercises are regularly conducted to localize outbreaks of infections. I would like to point out the existing opportunities for cooperation within the framework of the Eurasian Economic Union, even for those countries that are not full members of it. For example, the Eurasian Fund for Stabilization and Development has allocated over $1 billion to support the economies of the Central Asian states. These funds can be used to ensure the sustainability of national budgets and balance of payments, and strengthen the public administration system. In turn, the Eurasian Development Bank has already financed projects in Central Asia worth $8.7 billion, which is more than a third of all funds allocated to the region through international financial structures. Humanitarian contacts are really intensive. There are about 212,000 students from your countries studying in Russia. Branches of 25 Russian universities are successfully operating in the region, and schools with teaching in Russian are opening. And of course, it is very important that Russia and the countries of the Central Asian Five adhere to common or similar approaches to key issues on the regional and global agenda, coordinate their positions in the UN and other multilateral formats. The situation in Afghanistan has traditionally been the focus of attention of all our states, and Emomali Sharifovich has just spoken about this. Unfortunately, terrorist organizations are still trying to use Afghan territory to spread extremist ideology and criminal activities. We see today that the current Afghan authorities are ready for mutually beneficial cooperation in various fields, including the fight against terrorism and drug trafficking. Of course, we are ready to support these aspirations. As for the situation in the Middle East, amid the humanitarian tragedy and catastrophe in the Gaza Strip, there is an active search for ways to end the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. President Trump put forward well-known initiatives, and as you have seen, Russia supported them almost immediately. We see what is happening now. According to media reports, a final decision has been reached. We really hope that these initiatives of the U.S. president will actually be implemented in practice. From the very beginning, this initiative was generally positively received both in the Arab and in the Islamic world as a whole. The main thing is that, I repeat once again, all this should be implemented.
I would like to emphasize that Russia has always assumed and continues to believe that the problems of the Middle East region can only be solved through political and diplomatic means. And of course, we are ready to support any peaceful efforts aimed at stopping the bloodshed and bringing calm to this region. I think you will agree with me that this was the position of the Soviet Union, and so it was inherited by all the republics of the former USSR. We believe that the establishment of an independent Palestinian state is the main prerequisite for long-term stabilization and resolution of all issues related to this difficult problem. I must say that we are not only watching closely, but also trying, together with our partners in the Middle East, to contribute to this settlement. The situation around the Iranian nuclear program can also be resolved only through diplomacy and negotiations. There is no reasonable alternative to this. We are in close contact with our Iranian partners, and we feel their commitment to finding mutually acceptable solutions and resuming constructive cooperation with the IAEA. If you noticed, the Director General of the IAEA visited our country quite recently, and we discussed this topic in detail. He also pointed out the Iranian side's desire to solve all the problems. There are still technical issues, but all of them, when implementing the agreements reached, will play a role in reaching a final settlement on this very complex regional issue. We continue to maintain trusting contacts with Israel and receive signals from the Israeli leadership asking us to convey this to our Iranian friends that Israel also intends and is committed to a further settlement and is not interested in any kind of confrontation. Dear friends, a communique and an action plan have been prepared for approval at the end of today's summit. I am confident that their implementation will contribute to the further deepening of friendly and mutually beneficial relations between Russia and the Central Asian states. Thank you for your attention.